Hey guys, so I wanted to make a video about my pre-op testing for anybody who's already had their pre-op testing done. This may not be interesting to you. This is more for the people who have not been through pre-op testing, and I know everybody's pre-op testing is different, but I just wanted to share my experience, and this is probably going to be a pretty long video. I took notes during my testing all day yesterday because I didn't want to forget anything. So I left my house around 5:15 yesterday morning. I had to be at Miami Valley Hospital at 6:30. I didn't know what work traffic would be like at 5:30 in the morning, and I didn't want a chance getting there late. So I know I've mentioned having anxiety before, and I always, well, not always, sometimes I vomit when my anxiety gets really high. And so I was afraid it would kick in on my way there. So I took a Ziploc baggie with me, and I had a gallon size one. Not that I was going to puke a gallon, but I wanted to make sure it's big enough that I didn't miss. And I opened it and put it on my seat next to me in the car. But I listened to music, and I tried to just keep my mind occupied so I didn't think about going to do the testing. And it really wasn't even all the testing I was worried about. I didn't care about the blood or any of that stuff. It was the barium stuff and the fizzy stuff that I was going to have to swallow. I have trouble swallowing stuff, and I was just paranoid about all of that. And in my mind, I make things a little bigger than what they need to be sometimes. And even though I have that inner dialogue in my head saying, "Shut up, Amy, this is stupid," get a grip, the other side of my brain is freaking out and not listening to the side that's telling them to shut up and get a grip. So I made it there. I got there around, I don't know, 5:55, 6 o'clock, something like that. I think it was about 6 o'clock. I pulled into the parking garage, and I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and go in. I made it there without puking. I went in, found the desk I was supposed to report to. It was about 6:10 when I got in there. She had me sit off to the side because she didn't have everything ready yet. And another girl came. We talked for a couple of minutes, and then I got taken to a room. It turned out there were 4 of us that were there for the bariatric pre-op testing from the same doctor, Dr. Siddiqui. They had us all in separate rooms, so we didn't really get to talk that much. Yeah, so she took me to my room around 6:20. She gave me a gown, gave me a cup for a urine sample, told me where the bathroom was. My room didn't have a private bathroom like some of the other ones did. But I was right by the door where I could see everybody come and go, so at least I wasn't bored. So when she gave me the gown, she told me I just needed to get undressed from the waist up, put the gown on, and so I did that. I went to the bathroom and peed in my cup and took it back to the room. And then not too long after that, registration came to the room, got me registered, gave me my little wrist bracelet. So not only did everyone else know who I was, I also knew who I was all day long and how old I was. Then a guy came to the room, and he had a scale with him and said that he needed to get my weight. And so I got on, and I was 284. I was originally, my highest weight when I started all of this, I was 305. So was that like 21 pounds? Around 7:15, a lady came to do an EKG. I was going to ask if I could videotape it or at least get a picture, but she kind of seemed like a no-nonsense kind of person, so I thought, well, I'm not going to rock the boat. But after she left the printouts of the EKG in the room with my folder. So I hopped up and took a picture of that. I figured at least I got something. Around 15 minutes after that, 2 girls came to the room from lab to draw blood. I think one of them was training, the one that took the blood, because the other one kind of talked her through stuff and showed her the bag. They took 11 vials, and I asked, what were they checking for, and she said mostly vitamins. We got to talking. They were pretty cool people. The girl that took my blood, the one that I guess was training, she was kind of heavy set, and she was asking about bariatric surgery, and you know, she thought maybe I was having liposuction, and I said no. So I told her about the different surgeries, and then she said it was something she'd like to look into. And I said, well, you should, you know, if that's what you want to do, you know. The one lady that was training, the girl that took my blood, I asked her if she would take my phone and get a picture of the girl taking my blood, so I got that picture. After that, a nurse came in, introduced herself to me, said she'd be with me, you know, during the day, checking in on me, and she took some of my, like, medical history information down, told me if I needed anything to let her know. And I had this vent that was above my bed blowing cold air on me, so first thing I needed was a blanket because I was freezing, and of course I left my jacket in the car, and, you know, I didn't think I would need it. Around 8:15, someone came in and took me down to Xray. I asked her if I could get video or a picture while I was there, and she said she didn't know, and she'd have to ask somebody, and I said, that's okay. Like, you know, I didn't want to inconvenience them and draw it out any longer than it needed to be, so I said, it's not a big deal. So we went down there, and she had me, she got an X-ray from, you know, the front and the side, or I guess maybe the back and the side. I had to face the board, so maybe it was the back. I don't know. After that, she took me to a waiting room, and I had to sit there until they called me to go and do the upper GI, the part that I was strutting. I ran into Joy. She's the one that I told you about in my last video that I met at the support group meeting on Saturday. She had gone to get her X-ray, and they brought her to sit in the waiting room with me, so it was cool that we got to talk a little bit, kept my nerves down. She's a pretty cool person. Oh, and Joy, if you're watching, hi. So we sat there and talked until they came and got me first to do the barium swallow stuff, which I guess I'm glad I went first so I didn't sit there by myself overthinking everything like I always do. They took me into the room. They had me get up, like stand up on this like little platform, and they gave me a little cup with maybe not even probably 2 ounces of this fizzing stuff, and she told me to drink it down, and of course I sat there and kept swirling the cup around trying to get some of the fizz to go down, and she was like, you need to drink it. So it took me 2 drinks to get it down because I don't gulp. I can't take big drinks. I never have. So I swallowed it, and it left like gritty pieces. Like, I don't know if maybe it wasn't all dissolved. I remember like crunching down, and like it crunched, you know, like it was gritty between my teeth, and I thought, oh, this is gross. And I told her, I said, I don't feel very well, you know, because between nerves and the stuff I just drank, you know, they had automatically handed me this cup with what looked like the consistency of when you mix up, anybody does crafts and stuff, you've mixed up plaster of Paris, and it was kind of that consistency where it's starting to, it gets thicker, like it was gross. So she hands me this cup, and I'm looking around thinking, where's the trash can in case I need to puke? And they put this plate like right in front of me, and had me turn to the left, and there really was like no escape. Like, well, you weren't coming off the thing, and I saw nowhere. Like, I thought, if I puke, there's nowhere to really aim it. It's not like I can jump off and grab a trash can or anything. So I thought, oh man, please do not puke. So, you know, I've got this stuff in my hand. I drank that fizzy stuff, and she's like, okay, take 3 big gulps for me. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, you know, this is going to be, oh, don't puke. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to drink this shit like it's my bitch, and maybe I won't throw up. So I took 3 swallows. They weren't gulps. And I said, is that enough? And she said, yep, that's good. She's like, okay, you can get down. And I'm thinking, great, you know, like, we're done. And she says, okay, so I need you to finish the cup while I lay this, the platform I'd been standing on, she's laying it down and to make it like a flat bed. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to drink the rest of this? So I'm sitting there just taking the drinks the best I can, and she was like, you gotta drink it all, and I'm thinking, oh good Lord, please don't let me puke. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not a fast drinker, and she said, it's okay, just keep drinking. So I'm drinking, and the cup really wasn't that big, but in my mind it's like a freaking half a gallon. And so she's standing there making sure I get right down to the last drop. So when I'm done, they give me a washcloth to wipe off my mouth, because I know I looked like I was probably foaming at the mouth with white stuff everywhere. I know I probably had like a mustache. And so I got up on the table on my back, and I had to roll around the table like at 360 degrees on all sides to coat my stomach with this stuff. And they brought another cup of this white stuff, and she says, don't worry, this is thinner, and it had a straw in it. And at this time I was laying on my right side, so she said I need to take 3 drinks of the stuff in the cup with the straw. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't know how much more of this I can take. So I take 3 drinks. I'm thinking, it wasn't as bad as the first time. Straw, I think, really helps, and it being thinner helps. And so I took, the 3 drinks. She said, good. So she had me going on all sides, and she was taking images when I was on each side. And then he comes with a cup of water, and I'm thinking, great, water. He's got a cup on the straw, or with a straw, and I'm laying on my side, and he puts the cup up to my, she said, take a sip so that I could clear out my throat. Well, I was trying to take more than a sip, and he had to kind of take it away from me. Because I'm thinking, I'm getting this nasty stuff out of my mouth. And so I got what water I could out of it, and she said okay, and took some more images. And then she had me lay on my back, tilted me like, okay, so like this is a flat table and here's my head, tilted me like this, so my head's down here. He brings the cup back, and I have to take another drink and swallow at that angle. And I'm thinking, is this even possible? Like, is it gonna like come up my nose, or like? But I did it, and I got through it. And she said, okay, all done. And I thought, oh, thank you. So when I got off the table, they gave me another washcloth to wipe my mouth and stuff. I really wanted to like stick my tongue out and scrub that washcloth down my tongue, but, I don't know where all that washcloth's been. I work in a hospital. I've seen linen come in. It comes all just thrown in a thing, like a, I don't know, cart. Like, I'm not rubbing that on my tongue. But they gave me a glass of ice water to drink, and I thought, man, that's the greatest cup of ice water I ever had. She said she'd walk me back to my room, and so I stood there for a minute, and Joy was still sitting in the waiting room. And she told Joy I had extra, she could have my extra. So hopefully Joy had an easier time with it than I did, even though I really didn't have a hard time with it. It was heavy in my stomach. I didn't puke, so it was good. Any day I'm not puking, that's a good day. The nurse came back to the room after I got back from having the upper GI done and asked me if I wanted something to eat. She's like, we have cereal, we have sandwiches and chips and Pepsi. And I'm thinking, why would you be offering a bariatric patient like all this crazy crappy food like Pepsi and stuff, but okay. And she goes, well, where we have fruit. And I said, no, I brought shakes and Powerade Zero and stuff with me to drink for the day. I said, I'm good. Could I just get a bottle of water? Because, when I had the barium swallow thing, she said, drink lots of water, it'll help. And I thought, okay, so I'm just going to drink as much as I can. So she went and got me a bottle of water. And then around 9:15, all 4 of us that were there for our testing went and had a class with the, I guess she was like the bariatric nurse. And she described to us what surgery was going to be like before, like, when they're getting us ready for surgery, what things are going to be like when we first get out of surgery, what our incisions are going to be like, and, or, with the stitches with glue and then steri strips on top. And we're going to have like this big elastic band that's going to go around our stomachs. And, See, that part I really didn't know. You know, I hadn't really heard anybody else talk about the elastic bands going around. She said most people don't wear more than 2 weeks. She said if they have to, if they can't do our surgery laparoscopically, then, you know, they have to cut us open. Then you have to wear it up to 6 weeks. And I'm thinking, ooh, geez, you know, let's hope that doesn't happen. She told us that within 4 hours, usually they'll have us up walking the halls. Our bathrooms only have a toilet and a sink. The shower's down the hall. She said that's on purpose to make you walk. And they have an incentive where every lap, I guess, you make around the unit, when you can stop at the nurse station and put your name and phone number, I think she said, on a ticket for every lap. And for the month that you had surgery, anyone else, you know, everyone who had surgery, like let's say during the month of November, they put all those names, you know, in a bowl and pull a name, and you get a free container of the Xray chicken soup mix, the protein mix. And I thought that's cool, you know, gives you incentive for walking. Around 10:15, the hospitalist came to see me, and we went over what medications and vitamins that I take, and he took some of my medical history down. That was about it. I mean, we didn't really talk about a whole lot. About a half hour later, a physician's assistant from the hospital's group came to see me. I'm pretty sure that's who she said she was with. She also, you know, talked about what vitamins and stuff that I take. She listened to me breathe, listened to my stomach. She told me to stop taking my vitamins a week before surgery. She said I could keep taking my protonics that I take for acid reflux. I can take that even the morning of surgery. So I thought, well, that's cool. About 5 minutes later, the exercise specialist came to see me. She talked about what I plan on doing for exercise, you know, after surgery. And we talked about walking, and I told her about some of the things I want to do that aren't traditional exercise. I told her traditional exercise tends to bore me. I want to trike, I want to hike. I've got DDP yoga DVDs. I've got Hoopnautica DVDs with a hula hoop. Got the bands. And she said, well, you know, do you have a membership to like the YMCA or anything? And I said, no, I did, but it's too much to drive there, work out, go home, get ready for work, come back. I said, it takes up my whole morning. I don't have time for that. I said, I'm good, you know, exercising at home. I have everything that I need. I even have a treadmill, which is boring. I hate walking on the treadmill, but, you know, I will if I have to. You know, I've got the upper body workout stuff. You know, I've got enough DVDs and Xbox fitness games. I'm good. I can stay active. At noon, we went to another class with a nutritionist. I guess that's what she was, or dietitian, whatever. She went over like types of protein powder, things to look at in labels, what we're going to be eating like during the different phases after surgery. So I really feel like we got a lot more information there than I had before. Even on this 2-week pre-op diet that I'm doing right now, you know, I've chosen to do all liquids as much as I can. I'm allowed to have 3 protein shakes and 2 frozen meals a day. I don't want to do that. Yesterday I had all protein shakes, and I did go get a chicken sandwich without a bun and a side salad for dinner. Probably wasn't the best of choice as far as fat content, but you know, from here on, if I feel like I need something, I'll just have a grilled chicken breast or something. You know, it's good. But I am trying to do all liquids. I did all liquids today. I really didn't have, I had no actual like food to chew today. And I'm fine. I survived. I'm good. At 2 o'clock, all 4 of us had an appointment with our doctor, Dr. Siddiqui, which is funny because, you know, I was like, my appointment's at 2 o'clock. What time's your appointment? And turns out everyone's appointment was at 2 o'clock. We were wondering if we were going in as a group. Turns out it was basically as you check in, that was the order we got taken in. What's really funny is Joy and I shared I guess it was like a love seat, really probably meant for a larger bariatric patient. All the chairs there are wider, but they had a couple love seats, but they were pretty busy when we were there. So I asked her if I could scooch in on her love seat, and we were pretty tight in that love seat. And she said, wouldn't it be funny, we could get a picture of us in this seat. And I said, yeah, like a year from now, we could come back and sit in the seat again and be smaller, but we didn't actually take a picture. But it was funny because we just kept laughing about it. And I said, well, we're going to get up and we're probably both going to have a sweaty spot on our hips from where we were we were pretty intimate right there in that seat. She got called back right before I did, probably about 5 minutes. And, actually Tony went in first, and then Joy did, and then I got called back. We went in there and they had a whiteboard that they put your name on and your birthday and something else, I don't remember, and they took before pictures facing front and facing to the side. And then the doctor came in and just kind of went over the surgery stuff again and went down his list. I'm sure he probably has to say the stuff that he said, like possible death, and you could fail if you don't do the diet and stuff like that. And yeah, okay. And so I asked him if I could get a picture with him, for before. And he was like, yeah, I know he was busy, but I thought, it only takes 30 seconds at the most to take a picture, and he was cool about it. So one of the girls took our picture. And so after that, I headed home. Oh, and one thing is, as the day went on, after I went and did the upper GI with the barium, my stomach was just progressively killing me. And, I kept thinking, man, what's wrong with my stomach? It's, and everybody I asked, every doctor and every nurse that I kept asking, they said, oh, it'll go away soon, or you probably have loose stools, and I'm thinking, hey, I don't care. I can handle loose stools. I'm sorry, this might be too much information. If you can't handle too much information, you might want to cut it off now. So the day kept going. I was in horrible pain. By the time I got home, I thought, oh man, my stomach is just killing me. And I went to Target with my husband probably about 2 hours after I got home. I bent over to get a notebook, and I almost couldn't get back up because the pain was so bad. In fact, this is the notebook right here. I'm making a manual. How to Kill Fat Amy, the complete manual. But this is all of the stuff that they've given us since we started, like what to eat. I've got info and tips, test results. I've got all kinds of stuff in here. But I almost couldn't get up from getting the notebook, and I told my husband, I was like, I almost think I need to go to the emergency room. My stomach hurts so bad. I've never had pain like this before. I mean, I've had constipation pain. Usually it's more on the left side. Nothing as extreme as this. I mean, I almost felt like this stuff was in my intestines, hard as a rock, And I called my mom, and she said, I told her, I said, they said I'd probably have loose stools. And she said, no, when she had it, it constipated her, so there's a chance it's probably constipated me. And I thought, this quick? I mean, it was horrible. And so she told me to take a laxative, and I had some of that chocolate smooth tea. And so I drank a cup of that. It's not my favorite stuff, but I drank it down. And I was so tired. I went to bed about 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and about 6 o'clock this morning it hit me. And I'm about to give even more too much information for people, so if you're still listening, you might want to cut it off if you can't handle it. So, I sat on the toilet, and, it hurt to try to push because my stomach just was still hurting. It was just real sore and it hurt. And, I finally was able to go to the bathroom, and I'm telling you, that stuff was like cement coming out. Even when I flushed the toilet, like when you mix cement and it's like, before it hardens into hard cement, it's like, the slushy type stuff. That was down in the bottom of the toilet. It was all white, and I had to flush a couple times to get it all to go. It was like, I don't know if it's because it's heavy. I have no idea, you know. But I thought, oh my God, I gotta get that out of me because it was gross. But a couple hours later, I felt a lot better. You know, my stomach's been kind of tender today. You know, it's not really so much my stomach, it's more my intestines. You know, like I've noticed when I bend over to get stuff, it's slightly sore, probably from all that crap moving through my intestines. And, you know, I just wanted to share that too. I think that's all I have to talk about. If you stuck in there with me, great. So, yeah, this video is getting pretty long, so I'm going to say good night, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.